Well, shalom, friends. This is Daniel, and it's been a while since I've done a Eye on Israel update. Forgive us, we've been quite busy and involved. If you don't know, Devorah had a very serious foot injury, and she's been needing a lot of care, and so been involved in that, and just a lot of other things in preparation for the trip, which I actually am now speaking to you from the United States. I arrived a few days ago, a little bit jet lagged still, and God willing, Devorah will be here Tuesday morning, and we will commence our current ministry trip, traveling quite a bit around Texas and also into Arizona, and then back to Texas again before we return to Israel in December. But I just wanted to bring you a quick update about events in Israel. Don't know if you've been following the news, but once again, the situation with the Gaza border has erupted, and as typically is the case on Fridays, because Friday is the day of prayer for Muslims, and that's typically when they end up gathering, demonstrating, sometimes rioting, and what have you. And so, the perspective on this is kind of difficult to come by for some people, but I'm going to give you my perspective. And this may not sound like something you might expect to hear from me because I am a godly man and I want to see peace. Okay, but we have a situation where there is virtually no ability to come to a agreement with Hamas and the Gaza Strip. Why? It's not because Israel isn't interested. It's not because the Jewish people don't want peace. The reason is because we are dealing with a group of people who are theologically committed to the destruction of the nation of Israel and the annihilation of the Jewish people, period. Their holy book, the Quran, commands it. It's there for everyone to see. As a matter of fact, if a fundamentalist Muslim does not adhere to the strict tenets of the faith, which includes killing the enemies, especially the Jews and the Christians. And by the way, as far as the fundamentalist Muslims are concerned, an enemy is one of their own who doesn't adhere to the tenets of the faith. So yes, a secular Muslim can be killed by a fundamentalist Muslim. So this is something that a lot of people are not aware of. Find it very difficult to comprehend, especially those of us who live in the West, or those of you who live in the West and have civil laws and civil liberties and common courtesies and things like that. It just simply is not part of this Islamic society, period. And so it's very difficult to comprehend for a lot of people. Many Christians have passions about wanting to witness to Muslims, and I caution that because you need to be very careful of where you go in that society. Unless you have some very dear friends, if you take off and go on your own into a Muslim enclave and you don't have protection, you could be at risk. It's a very serious endeavor to do that. But the point that I'm talking about really is look at what's happened historically with Gaza. Ever since Hamas took over in 2007, there has been one war after another, and it's repeated itself. I was actually in surgery in 2012 when there was a war going on, and all the doctors, everyone in the staff that was working on me, it was heart surgery, were all Arabic. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm laying on the operating table. I was awake while the procedure was going on. I'm thinking, my goodness gracious, this is an opportunity. If these guys really want to, they can just go, oops, and there goes Dan Kalick, and I'm gone. But thankfully, they were good folks, and a lot of the Muslims are very decent people. I'm not trying to indict them all, okay? The problem is that the fundamentalists are the ones that are driving the whole situation. And the fundamentalists have no interest in peace. They have no interest in coexistence with Israel at all. Israel cannot exist no matter what the borders are. It needs to be destroyed as far as they're concerned. And any Muslim who compromises on these things is going to be killed by another Muslim. So this has just been a repeated cycle. There's battles, and then there's a ceasefire, and then there's a tenseness which goes on, and then eventually Hamas breaks it by, attacking someone or sending a rocket or a incendiary balloon or what have you, and it's just been going on and on and on and on. I have a suggestion for Prime Minister Netanyahu. He needs to put Hamas on notice so they and the whole world can hear very clearly. If there is another ceasefire, and so far there doesn't appear to be, there was one, but it's recently been broken again. But if there is another brokered ceasefire, my suggestion for Prime Minister Netanyahu is to say publicly to Hamas for the whole world to see and hear, Israel will not be the ones to break the ceasefire. However, if or when Hamas does break the ceasefire, we are giving you advance warning that we will mount a military incursion into Gaza to get rid of Hamas once and for all. Now, this will be long, it will be dirty, it will be painful, there's no question about it, and lives will be lost. But Israel cannot and should not have to put up with this constant tension, stress, terrorism that comes from the border, especially those poor folks that live in the communities next to Gaza. They are under constant threat. In Cedar Oak, if the siren sounds, residents of Cedar Oak have 15 seconds to get into a bomb shelter. Can you imagine living your life knowing that at any moment you have no more than 15 seconds to get into a bomb shelter? So my suggestion to Prime Minister Netanyahu is enough is enough. Put them on notice that if again, there has to be a ceasefire. So far that hasn't happened. But if there is a ceasefire that's agreed to, let Hamas know this will be the last time you break the ceasefire. We are coming in and we are staying in and we are getting rid of you because your people, the peaceful, loving Muslims, they deserve peace just as much as our people, the Israelis, deserve peace. So please, be warned. And if he makes the statement, which I hope he does, I hope he honors it, because otherwise he'll lose credibility. But something has to change. The rules of the game are being controlled by Hamas, and that should not happen. Israel should be controlling the situation, and Netanyahu needs to take a leadership role and let them know that there will be a severe price to pay whenever the next ceasefire is arranged if they break it. Well, in any case, that's my 2 cents worth, or my 2 shekels worth, if you will. Hope to see some of you soon. If you have any feedback or thoughts, please go ahead and post them. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. It's now Friday, and so I will say Shabbat Shalom from the great state of Texas. Bye.